Hello and welcome to Stairway to English. Today we begin an exciting series about planned obsolescence. Have you ever wondered why your phone slows down after only 2 years? Or why your laptop stops working sooner than you expect? It is not always an accident. Sometimes it is part of a plan. In this listening reading video, you will learn about this idea step by step, while also practicing your English. Let's start. Episode 1. The Birth of Planned Obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is a long phrase, but it carries a big meaning. It describes a business strategy where products are designed to last for only a limited time. Instead of making things that work for many years, companies sometimes design products to break, stop working, or become old-fashioned after a short period. When this happens, people have no choice but to buy a new product. This idea has a huge effect on the way we live, spend, and even think about the objects around us. The story of planned obsolescence goes back to the early 20th century. At that time, factories and industries were growing fast. Cars, radios, washing machines, and many new inventions were entering homes. Businesses wanted to sell as many products as possible. But here was a problem. If a washing machine lasted 20 years, the company would not be able to sell another one soon. So they began to think differently. What if products were made to last a shorter time? What if they were designed to fail or become out of date after a short period? Then customers would have to return to the store and buy again. This is the heart of planned obsolescence. One of the most famous examples is the light bulb. In the early days, some light bulbs could burn for thousands of hours, even for decades. But companies realized that if a bulb lasted too long, people would not need to buy new ones. In the 1920s, there was a secret group of light bulb manufacturers called the Phoebus Cartel. They agreed to limit the life of a light bulb to around 1,000 hours. This way, bulbs would burn out faster and people would buy more. It was one of the earliest and clearest examples of planned obsolescence in action. But it was not only light bulbs. Cars also became part of this story. Automakers noticed that if they changed the design of cars every year, people would feel their car looked old. Even if the engine worked fine, the style would look out of fashion. This created a new kind of pressure on buyers. They didn't just want a working car, they wanted a modern one. Planned obsolescence was no longer just about breaking down, it was about social pressure, style, and the feeling of being left behind. Over the years, this practice spread to many industries. Think about smartphones today. Many people feel their phone becomes slow after just a few years. Sometimes the battery stops charging well. Sometimes the software updates no longer support older models. Even if the phone itself still works, it feels old, weak, and outdated. Many people believe this is not an accident, but a strategy by big tech companies. The design makes the product useful for only a short time, forcing customers to buy the latest version. Planned obsolescence affects more than our wallets. It also affects the planet. Every time we throw away a phone, a washing machine, or a computer, we create electronic waste. These broken products often end up in landfills or are shipped to poor countries where they pollute the environment. Toxic metals, plastics, and chemicals leak into the ground and water. If products were built to last longer, there would be less waste and less harm to the earth. But because of planned obsolescence, waste grows every year. Some people argue that planned obsolescence is not all bad. They say it helps the economy. If people keep buying, factories keep producing, and workers keep their jobs. The market keeps moving, and new inventions arrive faster. Supporters believe that constant change pushes society forward. But many others strongly disagree. They say that this system is wasteful, dishonest, and harmful. Customers pay again and again for products that could have been made stronger, but were not. In recent years, movements against planned obsolescence have grown. Some people fight for the right to repair. They say that if a phone battery breaks, people should be able to replace it easily instead of buying a whole new phone. In some countries, laws now force companies to design products that can be repaired. This shows that not everyone accepts the idea of short-life products. More and more, people want things that last, not things that break quickly. Planned obsolescence is not a simple topic. It touches money, business, society, and even the environment. It affects how we think about the objects we use every day. When you buy a phone, a printer, or even a pair of shoes, you may wonder, will this last long, or will it fail sooner than it should? That question is at the center of the debate. As we continue this journey, we will see how planned obsolescence has shaped industries, influenced our daily habits, and even changed the way we see progress. In the next episode, we will explore how this practice became a normal part of business and how companies use it to control markets. Episode 2: Planned Obsolescence in Everyday Life. When we look around, we can see how planned obsolescence touches many parts of our daily lives. It is not only about technology or expensive machines. It is something that is often hidden in the simple things we use every day. Many people do not even notice it, but it quietly shapes how we spend money, how we use products, and even how we think about value. To understand this more deeply, let us think about the objects that surround us in our homes, offices, and schools. One of the most common examples is the light bulb. In the past, there were light bulbs that could last for many years, sometimes even decades. There is a famous example of a light bulb in California that has been burning for more than 100 years. But most modern bulbs are made to last only a few thousand hours. When they stop working, we simply buy new ones. This shows how companies sometimes choose to make products weaker on purpose, so that people must replace them regularly. Another strong example is clothing. Many clothes today are part of something called fast fashion. They are cheap, colorful, and always changing with new styles. But they are often not made to last for a long time. After a few washes, they lose their shape, the colors fade, or they tear easily. Instead of repairing them, many people throw them away and buy new clothes. This cycle creates more waste and pushes people to keep spending money. Fashion companies use the system to make sure people always want the next new item, even when the old one could have lasted longer with better design. We can also see planned obsolescence in furniture. Some older furniture was built to last a lifetime. For example, wooden tables or chairs from many years ago are still strong today. But modern furniture is often made from weaker materials. It looks nice when it is new, but after a short time, it may break or lose stability. People then decide to buy another new one. This is not an accident. It is often part of the business model. The company makes more profit when customers need to replace items often. Even toys for children can follow this idea. Many toys are made from cheap plastic and break very quickly. Parents then buy new ones because children still want to play. Some toys also follow short-term trends from movies or cartoons, so children ask for the newest design, even when the old toy is still working. In this way, planned obsolescence connects not only to the strength of the product, but also to the culture around us that creates a need for the latest version. Planned obsolescence also hides inside batteries. Think about your wireless headphones or electric toothbrush. The batteries often cannot be replaced easily. After a short time, the battery stops working well, and the whole device becomes almost useless. Instead of changing the battery, people buy a completely new product. This is not because technology cannot make replaceable batteries. It is because companies want to make sure customers keep buying again. Another clear place is in kitchen appliances. Toasters, coffee makers, or mixers sometimes break after only a few years. The cost of repairing them is often higher than buying a new one. Because of this, people throw away the broken one and buy another. It becomes normal in modern life to replace things instead of repairing them. This habit supports the system of planned obsolescence. When we look carefully, we can see how the system changes our thinking. People begin to believe that nothing is supposed to last long. They see objects as temporary. Phones, clothes, furniture, toys, or even small tools are no longer seen as long-term investments. Instead, they're seen as short experiences. This change in thinking is powerful. It shapes a culture of fast buying and fast throwing away. The biggest result of this is waste. Every year, the world creates millions of tons of electronic waste, old clothes, and broken items. Many of these are still partly usable, but they are thrown away because new products are cheaper or easier to find. This creates big problems for the environment. Landfills grow bigger, toxic materials spread, and the planet suffers. All of this comes from the idea of making products that are not supposed to last. Still, people can become more aware. Once they understand planned obsolescence, they can make smarter choices. They can look for items that are stronger and made to last longer. They can choose to repair instead of replace. They can support companies that build products with respect for the customer and the environment. Even small steps in daily life can push back against the system. Planned obsolescence may seem like something that happens far away in big companies, but when we study everyday objects, we realize that it is very close to us. It is in the light bulb in the ceiling, the shirt in the closet, the chair in the living room, and the phone in our hand. Understanding this is the first step toward asking important questions. Do we want to accept the system, or do we want to change it? Can we imagine a future where products are built to last again? These questions are not only about money, they are about the kind of life we want to live and the kind of world we want to build. Episode 3: The Hidden Costs of Planned Obsolescence. Planned obsolescence may look like a simple business trick. Companies make products weaker, people buy more, and profits grow. But if we look closer, we see that the real costs of this system are much bigger than they appear. These costs are not only about money, they also touch our environment, our society, and even our way of thinking about life. Understanding these hidden costs helps us realize why planned obsolescence is more than just a clever idea for selling. It is a system that affects everyone, even those who do not notice it. The first hidden cost is environmental damage. Every year, millions of tons of waste are created because of products that stop working too soon. Think about electronic devices like phones, computers, or televisions. Many of them contain toxic materials such as lead, mercury, and plastics that do not break down naturally. When people throw these items away, they often end up in landfills or are burned. This releases harmful chemicals into the soil, water, and air. The result is pollution that can last for hundreds of years. Clothes also create environmental problems. Fast fashion, which is part of planned obsolescence, produces billions of garments every year. Many of these are worn only a few times before being thrown away. Mountains of clothing waste are sent to poor countries or are burned in huge piles. The process of making these clothes also uses massive amounts of water, chemicals, and energy. So, behind the cheap price tag, there is a high environmental cost. The second hidden cost is financial stress for people. Planned obsolescence forces customers to keep buying new products again and again. At first, it may seem normal to replace a phone every 2 years or to buy a new washing machine after only a few years. But if we add up the money spent over a lifetime, the amount is very large. People are paying not only for the product, but also for the business model of the company. The constant need to spend creates pressure on families, especially those with limited income. The third hidden cost is the loss of skills and habits. In the past, people used to repair their clothes, fix their radios, or replace parts in their cars. Repairing was a natural part of life. Today, many people no longer know how to repair things because products are not designed for repair. Screws are replaced with glue, batteries are hidden inside, and spare parts are too expensive or unavailable. This means people are slowly losing important skills of problem solving and creativity. They become dependent on buying new things instead of fixing the old ones. Another hidden cost is psychological. Planned obsolescence creates a culture of dissatisfaction. Because products are designed to fail or to feel outdated quickly, people never feel fully satisfied with what they have. There is always a new model, a better design, or a must-have update. This endless cycle of desire and disappointment makes people feel restless. Instead of enjoying what they own, they focus on what they do not yet have. Over time, this can lead to stress, anxiety, and even unhappiness. There is also a global cost. Planned obsolescence often affects poor countries the most. When rich countries throw away their old devices, clothes, and appliances, many of these end up shipped to poorer nations. People there are forced to deal with the waste, sometimes recycling it in unsafe conditions. For example, workers in some African and Asian countries burn old electronics to collect small amounts of metal. The smoke and chemicals harm their health. So, while one part of the world enjoys new products, another part pays the hidden cost with their health and environment. Governments also feel the pressure of these costs. Cities must spend money to manage growing piles of waste. Recycling systems are expensive and often not effective enough to handle the speed of new waste. Landfills take up space and create pollution that requires public resources to clean. In the end, society as a whole pays for the hidden costs of products that were never designed to last. Another important cost is on innovation. At first, planned obsolescence may look like it pushes companies to create new things all the time, but in reality, it can block real innovation. Many businesses focus only on small updates that make a product new enough to sell again, but not truly better. Instead of inventing something that could last for many years, they choose to make small changes that keep the buying cycle alive. This slows down real progress and wastes the talents of engineers and designers. Perhaps the most dangerous cost is the damage to trust. When customers know that products are made to fail quickly, they lose trust in companies. People begin to feel that businesses are not serving them, but only using them. This weakens the relationship between customers and producers. In the long term, trust is difficult to rebuild once it is broken. The hidden costs of planned obsolescence show us that the system is not only about replacing objects, it is about replacing peace of mind, financial stability, environmental health, and social balance. The products that we buy and throw away carry a story much bigger than what we see in the shop. They connect to waste, pollution, stress, lost skills, and unfairness across the world. Understanding these costs is the first step toward change. When people realize that planned obsolescence has a price much higher than money, they can begin to think differently. They can ask for better products, support companies that design for durability, and teach repair skills to new generations. Every action against waste and against short life cycles is a step toward a healthier, more balanced world. Episode 4: Resistance and Alternatives to Planned Obsolescence. When people understand the negative impact of planned obsolescence, the next question naturally appears: what can we do about it? Is there a way to resist this system and create alternatives? The good news is that resistance is possible, and many people around the world are already taking steps toward change. It requires awareness, creativity, and cooperation between individuals, communities, and governments. Planned obsolescence is powerful, but it is not unstoppable. The first type of resistance comes from consumers themselves. Every time people choose to repair instead of replace, they are pushing against the system. Repairing a phone battery, sewing a button back on a shirt, or fixing a bicycle tire may seem like small actions. Yet, these small actions have big meaning. They show that people are not fully controlled by the business model of planned obsolescence. Repair is a form of independence. It gives people control over their own objects and their own money. To support this, many communities are creating repair cafes. These are places where people can bring broken items and fix them with the help of volunteers. They may learn how to open a laptop, repair a toaster, or patch a hole in clothing. At the same time, they meet others and build social connections. Repair cafes are not just about fixing objects. They are about fixing the culture of waste. They remind people that products can have a second life. Another form of resistance comes from the right to repair movement. This movement is growing in many countries. It demands that companies make their products easier to repair. This means providing spare parts, repair manuals, and tools to customers and independent repair shops. Some companies fight against this because they want to control repairs and keep selling new products. But governments in the United States, Europe, and other places are beginning to listen to citizens and pass laws in support of the right to repair. If these laws continue to spread, consumers will gain more power and companies will be forced to design better products. There are also alternatives in the design of products. Some companies choose to focus on durability and sustainability instead of short life cycles. For example, a few clothing brands now create timeless designs and high-quality fabrics that can last for many years. Some electronics companies sell modular phones, where parts like the camera or battery can be easily replaced. These businesses show that it is possible to make money while also respecting people and the planet. They prove that planned obsolescence is not the only way to succeed. One important alternative is the idea of the circular economy. In a circular economy, products are designed to be reused, repaired, and recycled instead of thrown away. The goal is to keep materials in use for as long as possible. Imagine a washing machine designed so that every part can be taken out and used again in a new machine. Or imagine clothes made from natural fibers that can return to the soil safely after being worn out. This system is very different from the throwaway culture of planned obsolescence. It sees waste as a resource, not as a problem. People also resist with their wallets. When consumers choose to support companies that care about sustainability, they send a strong message. Every purchase is a vote. Buying a durable pair of shoes instead of cheap ones that fall apart quickly is not only better for the buyer, but also a signal to the market. If enough people make these choices, businesses will adapt. Markets follow demand. The more people demand durability, the more companies will create it. Technology gives us tools to resist, too. The internet allows people to share repair guides, tutorials, and videos. A person who does not know how to fix their phone screen can watch a step-by-step video online. Communities can share tips, sell secondhand products, or exchange parts through online platforms. Digital spaces make it easier than ever for people to fight back against planned obsolescence and extend the life of their belongings. Education plays a huge role as well. Teaching children the value of repair, creativity, and sustainability can build a new culture. In schools, children can learn how to sew, use tools, or recycle materials. This is not only practical knowledge, it also shapes how they think about the world. Instead of growing up in a culture of waste, they grow up in a culture of respect for resources. Governments also have power to create change. They can pass laws that require companies to provide longer warranties. They can create rules for recycling, and they can punish businesses that design products to fail too early. Some governments already require that products display a repairability score. This number shows customers how easy or difficult it is to repair a product. With this information, people can make smarter choices. At the same time, social campaigns are important. Documentaries, articles, and awareness programs help open people's eyes. Many consumers do not even realize that planned obsolescence exists. Once they understand, they often feel shocked and even angry. Awareness creates motivation to resist. Finally, resistance is also about changing our own values. Planned obsolescence works because people feel the need for new all the time. If we can learn to value quality over quantity and experience over possessions, then the power of planned obsolescence weakens. Choosing to be satisfied with what we have, instead of always chasing the latest version, is a quiet but powerful form of resistance. In the end, resistance to planned obsolescence is possible at many levels: personal, community, political, and cultural. Every act of repair, every choice for durability, every law in favor of consumers, and every shift in mindset adds up. Together, they form a strong answer to a system that has dominated for too long. Planned obsolescence is not natural. It was created by humans, and it can be challenged by humans. The alternatives are real, and they are growing every day. Episode 5: A Future Beyond Planned Obsolescence. When we think about the future, it is important to ask ourselves what kind of world we want to create. Do we want a world where people continue buying and throwing away products without end, filling landfills and wasting resources? Or do we want a world where things are designed with care, respect, and responsibility? The fight against planned obsolescence is not only about fixing broken phones or sewing old clothes. It is about imagining and building a future where products, people, and the planet are valued in a balanced way. In this future, companies will no longer design products to fail quickly. Instead, they will focus on creating items that last longer and can be repaired easily. Imagine a refrigerator that lasts for 20 years, or a pair of shoes that can be resold many times without losing comfort. This kind of thinking may seem unusual today, but in fact, it was normal in the past. Our grandparents often used the same objects for many years, repairing and taking care of them. The future could bring back this wisdom, combined with modern technology. Technology will be a key part of this transformation. New materials can help make products stronger and more sustainable. For example, biodegradable plastics could replace harmful single-use plastics. Smart designs could allow parts to be upgraded without replacing the whole product. Instead of throwing away a phone, people could simply change its processor, camera, or screen. Technology should serve human needs and the environment, not only the profits of a few companies. At the same time, recycling will play a central role. Instead of sending broken items to the trash, the future could allow every product to be taken apart and reused. Metals, plastics, and glass can all be recycled and transformed into new products. Some companies are already experimenting with this idea. For example, there are shoe companies that collect old shoes and turn them into material for new pairs. The dream is a closed-loop system where nothing is wasted. The future will also depend on laws and rules created by governments. If governments continue to support the right to repair, companies will be forced to change. Strong environmental regulations can make it illegal to produce goods with deliberately short lifespans. Labels showing durability and repairability will give consumers more knowledge and power. Taxes and incentives can push businesses toward more sustainable models. For example, companies that create repairable and recyclable products could pay less tax, while companies that waste resources could pay more. But the most important change must come from people themselves. A future beyond planned obsolescence requires a change in culture and values. People need to move away from the idea that happiness comes from always owning something new. Instead, happiness can come from experiences, relationships, creativity, and personal growth. Owning fewer but better products can actually make life simpler and more satisfying. Minimalism, secondhand markets, and shared ownership are already growing in popularity. These trends show that society is beginning to shift. In education, children can grow up with a new mindset. Schools could teach not only math and science, but also repair skills, sustainability, and respect for resources. Young people could learn how to build, fix, and reuse instead of simply consume. This way, the next generation will be prepared to create a world where waste is not the norm. There will also be a role for art and media. Movies, books, and campaigns can inspire people to imagine a better future. They can raise awareness about the problems of consumer culture and encourage creative solutions. When society talks openly about planned obsolescence, it loses its invisible power. Of course, this future will not come easily. Companies that profit from planned obsolescence will resist change. They will argue that repairing products is too expensive, or that consumers always want the latest version. They may even design new ways to make repair difficult. But history shows that change often starts with a small group of determined people. Over time, these small efforts can grow into powerful movements. If humanity chooses the path of responsibility, the future could look very different. Imagine cities where repair shops are as common as fast food restaurants. Imagine families teaching their children not just how to buy, but also how to fix. Imagine companies competing not for the fastest product turnover, but for the longest lasting and most sustainable designs. This is not a dream, it is a possibility, waiting for us to choose it. In the end, the story of planned obsolescence is a story about control. For many years, companies have controlled how long products live and when people must buy again. But the future offers the chance to take back this control. A world beyond planned obsolescence is a world where people, not corporations, decide how to use resources. It is a world where objects serve us well, where the environment is respected, and where waste is no longer the foundation of the economy. The future is not written yet. It depends on the choices we make today. By repairing, reusing, recycling, and demanding better from companies and governments, people can create a new story. It is a story of strength, creativity, and balance. Planned obsolescence may have shaped the past, but it does not have to shape the future. The choice is ours.